But on night one, we had Rollins' open challenge, accepted by none other than the American Nightmare himself, Cody Rhodes, coming in. Picture-perfect presentation from his time in AEW. The dumb elevator entrance and all, which I hated in AEW, because at least in AEW, like in WWE, if they do it, I don't know if they'll do it forever, or if they're just doing it for now. If they don't do it in WWE, I'm okay with that, honestly. But the issue with it in AEW is that they have heel and babyface tunnels there. So for him to come through the center all the time, like he's fucking Triple H, who he admitted in multiple interviews over the weekend, I always just thought was silly. But, for WrestleMania, it looked great. Got the pyro, the music, obviously. The intro itself, wrestling has more than one royal family. They got that, too. I didn't think they would, honestly. I thought there was a pretty good chance they would get the music. I didn't think they would use the intro. Fuck, dude, they used that, too. So, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was prime presentation of Cody Rhodes. The match itself with Rollins was excellent. They had a really, really good match. It went 20 minutes. It didn't feel like it at all. And Cody Rhodes won in the end with, 20 crossroads. It probably should have been one. I wasn't a fan of Rollins kicking out of the crossroads. They're killing his finish on day one. But other than that, I thought this was perfect. Rollins played his role great. Really good match. And Cody Rhodes already, one night in, feels like a megastar in WWE. So I'm curious what your 2 cents are coming off the return of Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I thought they did everything perfectly. I mean, having his entrance, the wrestling only has one royal family, that fucking popped the crowd. The music came out as just by himself. We didn't have Brandy or his whole entourage come out, so I feel like he kind of popped him as a star. I think we all knew it was going to be him, so, it still was huge, though. He could have came out to some generic-ass music and would have been like, the fuck's going on? But him coming out as American Nightmare, that just made sense. You'd be an idiot if you didn't do that, so glad they did the right thing there, and I thought the match itself was really good. I think, as a standalone match, it was great. I think the one thing that it wasn't without Bianca and Becky was it just didn't have there was no real story. Bianca and Becky had a long story, so I think that kind of contributed to the match. I think, like you said, Rollins and Cody was a great match itself, but just didn't have a story. But like you said, he also did hit him with 17 crossroads, so he probably could have hit him with one and then done the dusty finish. But it was fine regardless. Cody came off as a star, so that's all they really wanted.
Yeah, no, it was great. We've talked for months, dude, that by the end there in AEW, he was the worst part of the show. And I don't think it's a case of where, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, listen, I really have always loved Cody, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you he was terrible in AEW, he's going to be so much better in WWE. I think his AEW run was very good on the whole. The issue there towards the end, and I've said this a million times on hashtag, I'm sure we've talked about it before ourselves, I think the biggest issue with Cody in AEW was giving him too much creative control. That whole world title clause thing was terrible. I understand he said at the press conference thing that we went to that he did that because he didn't want people to hate him if he put the championship on himself. And they ended up hating him anyway because it made no sense for him not to go for the world championship. The thing is when I hear him say that, I'm thinking, okay, but Kenny Omega's an EVP too, and he was champion for a fucking year. No one said really anything about that. So I know people just don't like Cody for different reasons, and I get it. Some of his promos towards the end there were just not good at all. As far as the delivery was great, but the stuff he was saying was just that last promo on Dynamite that he cut about the Terry Taylor arm drag class, it was just stupid. I wanted to ask him when I saw him, I'm curious, did you know at that point you would be going to WWE? Because why would you be saying that whole they're from developmental, but we signed them here in AEW anyway? That made no fucking sense. But now he's back in WWE. And at some point, will babyface Cody get old? Maybe. But I think for now, it's something fresh. He's got a fresh coat of paint, some fresh scenery, a nice change of scenery. And he feels like a star at a time where they need stars, dude. They need stars. It was no coincidence they put him in the Raw Dark match the next night against Kevin Owens. He is already... You can make an argument he's the top babyface on Raw. He absolutely is. They have Drew over on SmackDown, who they need to kind of scale back up the card as well. Bobby Lashley's a babyface now. They have AJ Styles, but Cody feels like the most special of them all. And I think if they can maintain this momentum, again, we literally said a week ago, dude, and I don't think we were exaggerating when we said there's no way he's beating Roman Reigns for the championship, so don't even think about it. We weren't wrong to say that because it didn't really feel like they would do that, and there's still a great chance they won't. But based off the promo he cut on Raw, I honestly believe there's a good chance he could become world champ, and I honestly feel like he should be the one to beat Roman. That would have sounded ridiculous, and it did sound ridiculous a week ago, but that was before I saw them present him the way that they did on Raw and at WrestleMania. I honestly, truly can tell you right now, as of April 7th, 2022, that he should be the one to beat Roman Reigns for the undisputed title, Universal title, whatever. Because I'm not really sure what other options you have beyond Drew, and I don't really love that idea.
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible. I mean, I think the way that they showed him on Raw, I think definitely would make me feel better about him beating Roman. I mean, obviously before I was just like very skeptical on how they were going to bring him in. So
Me too.
Seeing how he was brought in, I think it makes I mean, it's not him. It's like who? Fucking Drew. I mean, at this point, you might as well just go all the way with Cody. I would say.
Unless Braun's ready by WrestleMania 39.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that as well, but.
And that might be a little too soon. And the fact that we might get the Rock match, which I'm sure is still up in the air at this point.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think that's probably still in the works.